Campaigning for Saturday's presidential election ended yesterday, but violence continued to overshadow the run-up to the vote. Several countries, including the United States, have called on all parties to take a firm stand against violence and hate speech by their supporters. This appeal comes hours after a Senate candidate was killed by gunmen in the southeastern city of Enugu. Nigeria has faced decades of insecurity challenges caused by armed groups in the north, as well as separatists in the south. There are 18 candidates who are competing to become president, but polls indicate there are only 3 frontrunners to replace Muhammadu Buhari. At least 93 million people are registered to vote.
The Commission is committed to free, fair, and credible elections in compliance with the electoral legal framework and the letter and spirit of the Peace Accord. All political parties and candidates are hereby reassured of the Commission's neutrality. INEC is not a political party. We have no candidate in the election. Our allegiance is to the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and our loyalty is to Nigerians.
Meanwhile, several arrests have been made to ensure the peaceful conduct of the general elections in Nigeria. Spokespersons of security agencies and the armed forces briefed journalists at the defense headquarters in Abuja. Arise security and defense correspondent Ferdinand Duroha reports.
The briefing is the last before the presidential election this weekend. Earlier, security chiefs and the Inspector General of Police had assured Nigerians of peaceful polls, with a threat to give more against those planning to cause trouble during the process. However, with notable issues of pre-election violence and the mood of the masses dampened by the challenges posed by lack of cash and scarcity of petrol across the country, the likelihood for violent reactions cannot be ruled out. This is why public relations officers of the major security outfits are taking this time out to brief the media on what the agencies are doing to ensure safety.
The National Security Council met yesterday with a charge to the armed forces of Nigeria and other security agencies to ensure peaceful conduct of the forthcoming general elections. In both meetings, the Chief of Defense Staff has assured the nation that we are set for the conduct of the history elections in the country.
On 18 February 2023, in Anambra State, the service arrested the puppet of Sunday Mokwe, of Jerry Osita, Udebe John, and Okechukwu Emeka, and recovered among others from them 1 AK-47, 3,985 rounds of AK-47 ammunition.
And I want to say again here without missing words that our officers have made, particularly those that are detailed to VIPs or politicians as escorts or aides, are not allowed to move with any one of them during the election. Apart from our governors that can go out with their ADC, and we don't expect them to go with large number of security or breaches, because that day we are all equal before the law. But
the 2023 election is taking place amid security challenges, from terrorist to separatist agitations, and with banditry and farmers' herders conflict in between. No geopolitical zone in Nigeria is unaffected. Ferdinand Duroha, Arise News.
And ahead of tomorrow's elections, the National Electoral Body INEC says 87.2 million permanent voters card or PVCs have been collected out of the 93 million citizens who registered to vote across the country. INEC Chairman Mahmoud Yakub made the remark at a media briefing in Abuja. Arise correspondent Chinasa Samuel reports.
93.4 million Nigerians registered to vote in the 2023 general elections, but out of that figure, only 87.2 million Nigerians across the country collected their permanent voters card. A breakdown of the data shows that Lagos, the state with the highest number of registered voters, is leading as the state with the highest number of collected PVCs with 6.2 million cards collected. It is followed by Kano with 5.5 million. Kaduna follows closely with 4.1 million, while Katsina joins with 3.4 million cards collected. While Lagos State has the highest number of collected PVCs, it's also leading as the state with the highest number of uncollected PVCs with a figure of over 845,000. Oyo follows next with 515,000, Ogun with 410,000 uncollected PVCs, and Edo with 373,000. By regions, starting with the northeast, Borno State has 2.4 million PVCs collected, Gombe has 1.5, Adamawa has 1.9, Yobe 1.4, Bauchi 2.7 million, and Taraba State with 1.8 million PVCs collected. In the northwest, Jigawa has 2.2 million PVCs collected, while Kaduna has 4.1 million, Kano 5.5 million, Katsina 3.4 million, Kebbi 1.9 million, and a little above 2 million in Sokoto State, while 1.8 million in Zamfara State. In the North Central, Benue State has 2.6 million cards collected, Kogi has 1.8 million, Kwara 1.5 million, Nasarawa 1.8 million, Niger 2.6 million, Plateau 2.6 million as well, and 1.4 million cards collected in the FCT. In the southeast, Ebonyi State has 1.5 million cards, 1.9 million in Abia State, Anambra State 2.6 million, Imo 2.2 million, and Enugu with 1.9 million cards collected. While in the south-south, Delta State has 2.9 million cards collected, Edo has 2.1, Akwa Ibom 2.1 as well, while Bayelsa has a little above 1 million cards, Cross River has 1.6 million, and River State has 3.2 million. In the southwest, Lagos has 6.2 million cards collected, Ogun 2.2, Oyo 2.7, Osun 1.5, Ondo 1.7 million, and Ekiti State 958,000 cards collected. The 87.2 million Nigerians who obtained their permanent voters' cards are expected to be at the polling units across the country on February 25th to elect a new president and new members of the National Assembly. Chineza Samuel, Arise News.
Right, a lot to talk on this morning.
Yes, it's crunch time, Rufai. In less than 24 hours, millions of Nigerians, as you've seen the numbers, would head to 176,606 polls across the Federation to exercise their franchise. Just to mention that with the figures coming up, very impressive, 93.3% collected PVCs, up from 86.3% in 2019, and did a lot better than 82.1% in 2015. However, it's not just the collection. So Nigerians have done well in registration, registration numbers. They've done well with collection, record collection numbers, but also what's very important is voter turnout. And last election cycle, 2019, we had only 35% voter turnout, which was very, quite low. So what we're looking to do at this, during this election is to up those numbers and to ensure that as many Nigerians as possible are able to exercise their franchise, which brings us to the earlier story you talked about, the issue of security, which plays a big role when we talk about voter apathy in the country. So a number of reasons why some people have flown out of the country at this time, or their family members, or people would rather stay at home than go out to vote, is because of uncertainties around their security as to whether they are safe when they go to the polls. And this is what the Joint Security Operations has, through media briefings, have told us a number of times, assuring Nigerians that they are on top of things. In fact, for many people across states in Nigeria, you'd see quite a heavy presence of military vehicles, military officials. Two things: it could act as a deterrent to mischief makers, or perhaps violent touts who would propagate violence, but also it could put some fear in people as well. So it's a two-edged sword, because people are then wondering, is it going to be that bad? Why are we seeing so much, there's such a militarization of this particular election? But the military has come out to assure Nigerians that they are just offering support efforts to the lead operators, who is the Nigerian Police Force. And I'm glad that we have, we're going to be having an interview in the course of today's show to address that. But very quickly, to summarize, I just want to say two things to the electorate. Tomorrow is your opportunity to vote in your choice. It is going to be your choice. And so what we're asking people to do, arrive early. There are guidelines across. Identify your polling unit as early as possible, and ensure you yourself are able to conduct yourself properly. Do not wear any paraphernalia of any party at all. Go exercise your franchise, monitor your votes if you want to, or go home peacefully. So security agencies, again, just to mention, you have given Nigerians the assurance, all eyes are on you tomorrow. Please ensure that the promise you've made to Nigerians over the last few days, you keep to those promises. For INEC, I'm glad that we played the video where the INEC chairman talks about the fact that they were neutral. The I in INEC is for independence, and this is what Nigerians are calling for INEC to be, truly independent in their conduct and in the conduct of their staff members, to give us reports consistently, because Nigerians are watching. And of course, for the candidates to be gracious in winning or in defeat, because it's election, anything can happen. I know we asked yesterday some candidates, anything can happen. So please, as we've seen as we saw in 2015, whoever loses, whoever wins, be gracious in this. And your body language and the words that you speak would either incite or hit the polity, or perhaps douse, any form of violence, or would ensure calm. God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Looking forward to a peaceful, free, fair, and credible elections.
Dr. Bati?
It's a watershed moment in Nigerian history. This has been the 7th consecutive cycle, the 7th major election, consecutive cycle of elections since the return to democracy in 1999. And its significance is further underscored by the fact that Nigeria is the largest democracy in Africa. Even with 87.2 million people having collected their PVCs, that's more than the population of voters in any major general election in 10 West African countries put together. And therefore, the interest that has been shown in this election by the international community is to be, remarked upon. Australia, Japan, United States, UK, Canada, all the countries, have expressed support, have identified with the Nigerian people, and have encouraged the Nigerian people to vote freely and fairly. And that is to tell us that the operation, if you can call an election an operation, tomorrow in Nigeria, it's not just about Nigeria. It's something that the entire world is interested in, both for global stability and for the sustenance and deepening of the democratic project, which is, the basic ideal in today's world. The other point to note here is that, yes, INEC tells us that it is prepared, and that is what we expect to hear from INEC and the security agencies, and all the other stakeholders that are going to, oversee this election. In the meantime, the Customs Department has announced the closure of all land borders to Nigeria. Certain airlines have suspended operations. The Nigerian Railways has said there will be no operations from Saturday to Sunday. The Nigerian Police has said that there will be a curfew in place from 12 midnight today till 6 p.m. Tomorrow. So Nigeria appears to be set. Tomorrow, there will be election of one president, although there are 18 candidates in the race, 18 political parties. Nigeria will also be electing all the 360 members of the House of Representatives and all the 109 members, minus one, because one seat is vacant, of the Senate, which brings it to a total of 468 positions up for grabs. The candidates in that race alone, there are 4,223. And the polling units that INEC will have to manage, 176,846 in 774 local governments. And that's why I say it's a big operation. And so INEC will be tested tomorrow. INEC will be using in general election, beyond the off-cycle elections, the reliance on technology, BVAS, the biometric bimodal verification accreditation system, BVAS, and also IREV, which is the reporting portal. So there's going to be a lot of dependence on technology, and the capability of INEC will be tested to the limits. The security agencies also have their work cut out for them, particularly in the face of the threat by certain elements, as far away as even Finland, saying that they should be sit at home from today till the end of the elections in certain parts of the country. Now, would that happen? Would the state fold its arms and allow that to affect voter turnout? So the state also has to give confidence to all of those communities where people have been told that they must not come out. And it is important that certain other non-state actors have said, look, people should go out and vote. Otherwise, the 87.2 million PVCs that have been collected will be of no effect. It's only when people go out and vote with those PVCs and then take a decision. This is an election like no other because the stakes are very high. The stakes are high with regard to ethnicity, which has been a major factor in the election. With regard to religion, how would Christians vote? How would, Muslims vote? With regard to inclusion, women constitute 52% of the voters that will turn out tomorrow. 48% are men, male. Youths between the ages of 18 and 39 constitute more than 45% of the entire voting population. So you find that the youth bulge, are we going to see that youth bulge out there tomorrow to take a decision one way or the other? But at the end of the day, what matters, it seems to me, is that whatever result is announced, as was pointed out during the second peace accord that was signed by the political parties and which has been praised by the international community, the gladiators, the contestants at all levels must be prepared to accept the outcome of the result. Where they may have any grievances, nobody should take the law into their hands. And again, I end by calling on the security agents to do their job. Yesterday in Kano, there was a protest by a group called Kwankwansiya. At the end of the day, 63 persons were injured and 63 persons were arrested. 8 people died, according to one report. Now, nobody should die because Nigerians want to elect a president and 468 representatives in the National Assembly. That is what is important, and I hope that we all go to the polls and will be given the free chance to make an informed choice.
It is another election, but it's a very symbolic one. Not because it's like the 7th cycle since we returned to democracy, but it's because it's exactly 100 years elections started happening in Nigeria. The first elections then, under colonial rule, was in 1923.
What's 1922?
22.
Under the Clifford Constitution. 1922.
So makes it 101 years. And it is symbolic because after 100 years, what have we learned? Nothing, you'd reckon. Nothing. We returned to our own civilian rule. We had the first elections in December 59. That continued. We had another elections in 64. And that continued for a bit until the military took over. Now we are back to our democratic race. 7th cycle. Have the lives of the people changed? No. And that's why these elections matter. We always make the argument that there is just only one elite political class and the other class is the people, the suffering people of Nigeria. The question is, will this election speak for the suffering people of Nigeria? I will not answer that question. It is you watching me out there that have got a PVC in your hands that will answer that question. You that have been suffering because of the policies of politicians and the fact that they think it's all about them and less about the suffering people. So you will be the one to vote. INEC says we've got admirable numbers, 87 million people plus. I'd like to ask INEC, does that also involve the people that they found their PVCs in the bush in Nnewi? Were those other people part of those that collected their PVCs? Because we need to be able to interrogate the numbers. Was it also part of the long queues of people that didn't get their PVCs in Jakonde in Lagos? 87 million? Or is it plus the people that have collected their PVCs before? Because we'd like to know. Because the bulk of the people that did their new registration couldn't collect their PVC. So can we also subject that number to an integrity test? INEC has told us beavers will work. Hope we will not hear stories on election day. Hope the portal is safe and secure, the IRF portal. Hope people will be able to send the results there. And we will not hear a case like we heard in Osun, that it was some voters that gave the INEC officials data on their phone to transmit results. Hope INEC has sorted all of these things out. The security authorities Hope all hands are on deck. Hope we will not hear stories. Hope ballot boxes will not be burnt like they were burnt in 2019 elections in Amuwo Dofin and the police officer was just looking. Hope people will not be disenfranchised. Political actors. I'm excited Dr. Abati made mention of that riot yesterday in Kano. Hope you will not say inciting things. Hope you will not start seeing results from your Twitter handle before INEC officially announce the results. Because we all know the game, so I wish Nigeria the very best. But the best of Nigeria will come if only you watching me with your PVC this morning do your best.